Hey everybody, how's it going? So up to this point, we've worked on some Rahi, some Matoran, some Turaga. I think it's time we finally give the people what they want and do a Toa. In particular, I'm going to be working on Onua today. This is a character I've had some ideas on for a little while, so I'm really excited to get into it. But before we get started, I just want to say that our Patreon is going live today. We have a private Discord, we have some bonus content, and I really hope to build a community through that. So if you want to support us, that's where you can do it. Now, Onua is the Toa of Earth. He's one of the original 6, and he's kind of my personal introduction into Bionicle. I remember as a little kid, my family taking the bridge from Malmo to Copenhagen to go to Legoland, and walking into this amphitheater, where projected onto the wall was this giant black robot tunneling underground, and it was mysterious, it was vaguely threatening, but it completely caught my imagination as a child, and it's kind of been eating at my brain ever since. So right off the bat, what makes Onua different than the other 6 is that his head is protruding out of his chest rather than sitting on top of his shoulders. Now, this is something I want to accentuate. I want to take any opportunity I can with these characters to break up the human form. So we're going to give him these massive shoulders that extend way above his head, and these big old gorilla arms leading down to his claws. And I really see Onua as being like a locomotive, right? I mean, he's stocky, he's built like a tank, so I'm going to take a lot of inspiration from things like Ironsides from the Civil War, a lot of interlocking metal plates, a lot of sharp edges, just to make him look really big and imposing. I'm also not going to be, I guess, dressing him up quite as much as some of the other characters, right? Because Onukoro, it exists underground, it is a very industrial mining society. So I don't think they would have a lot of the cultural artistic flourishes that like Gakoro or Leikoro would have. It's all sort of stripped down to its functionality, and it's very, it's very utilitarian. Now, of course, the most iconic piece of Onua's design are his claws, and I want to stay generally true to what the toy did, but I do want to add these 2 like vestigial thumbs that sit on the upper wrist, almost like dew claws. I think that adds a lot and really makes it look distinct. Okay, well, I think it's time for this week's episode of Bionicle Eyes. Now, of course, the last video was all about that, and I got some really good feedback from it. I really appreciated that. Especially the people that were suggesting new ideas that I hadn't tried yet. I know a number of people were recommending why not try a white pupil rather than a black one, which honestly wasn't something I really considered, so I want to try that here. I also really liked the idea that I don't need to have a uniform eye design for every character. That the Matoran can have a different looking eye than the Turaga, and especially with the Toa, who, from the perspective of the Matoran, need to look fairly imposing and mysterious. So I'm going to keep it simple and do these 2 white hexagons that can spill green light out onto the sclera, and I think that that'll work. Moving on to the masks. In general, I want to keep the Turaga and the Toa masks very close to how they look in the toys. For the Matoran, I want to take more creative liberties and mix it up just to differentiate the 2, but I want to stay pretty close to that original Pakari. One thing I want to change, though, is that he has these divots on the side of his head by his eyes. I want to invert that and punch those out, because I think that takes the whole area by his eyes and makes it almost look like a pair of mining goggles. And I think that about does it. Ladies and gentlemen, Onua. Okay, that just about does it. Please leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Now, we will be making an announcement soon on the larger project. I know that there's been a lot of interest in potentially voice acting for it, so we definitely want to find a way to hold auditions for that soon. And thank you guys again just for the interest there, that means a lot. But that is it for now, and I will see you in the next one.